The Democratic Party are the pimps to the black political class. Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. Smash the subscription bell. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that. So here in North Carolina, the appellate court judges recently struck down the voter-approved and voter-supported state ID law. And they did that because they said the law, the way it was written, was unconstitutional. Now, when the voters originally voted for this, they voted for a constitutional amendment in support of voter ID here in North Carolina. But the NAACP and others have been fighting this, saying that these kind of laws are unconstitutional. Similarly to what has been taking place in Georgia and Texas and places like that. There's a huge uproar from the black political class when it comes to things like this. They use phrases such as Jim Crow on steroids, Jim Crow for the 21st century. Those are the phrases you hear whenever someone even thinks about or utters voter ID, as if black people are slow and stupid and can't get a voter ID, can't get a state issued ID. That's the implication, that black people are not intelligent enough or have enough agency, enough resources to get an ID or a photo ID at that. But the same people who claim that a voter ID is discriminatory are the same folks that are quiet, very quiet, when it comes to Joe Biden and Bill de Blasio and vaccine mandates, knowing that over 70% of black people have not received a shot, a jab.
And so, as a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant, are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right, my ancestors did not work this hard. I come up from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? All right, so I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce? Are we going to continue with discrimination and segregation in the United States of America?
So those policies are naturally discriminatory against black people. You don't hear people about that in the mainstream media. You don't hear people about that on the griot. You don't hear people about that on the root. You want to know why? Because it will show the hypocrisy of the black political elite. The black political elite are not in it for black people. They are the enforcement arm of the Democratic Party. They have fidelity to the Democratic Party, and that's it. They're not in it for the benefit of black people. The NAACP, all these organizations are no longer independent. They are affiliates of the Democratic Party. That's why you don't hear the uproar when it comes to these vaccine mandates, knowing that it will severely impact people of color. Knowing that 70% of the people that this will impact are blacks. There should be an uproar about that. There should be protest. Where's Black Lives Matter when it comes to this? There should be marches in the street. There should be a march down Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House. There should be people outside of the White House protesting this because of how discriminatory this is to black people. But yet you don't hear a peep, do you? Very silent. And you want to know why? Because the black political elite are not in it for black people. It's time for black people to wake up. The black political elite, the black ruling class, as they say, the gatekeepers who want to get on to Nicki Minaj for even speaking out about vaccine hesitancy. Those people are the same ones who will applaud the district appellate court striking down the voter ID law in North Carolina, but will be eerily silent when it comes to vaccine mandates and vaccine laws in New York City, for example, where the majority of people who are unvaccinated are black. Where is the uproar in that? I'm still waiting. If somebody can show me proof of a black political leader speaking out about that, then I'll stand corrected. But I doubt you'll send that my way, because they have no intention of speaking out about that. If they speak out about that, then they'll lose all the political clout that they have with the Democratic Party. They can't afford to do that. So while I'm sure they disagree with what Biden is instituting and disagree with what de Blasio is instituting, they will not speak out against it. They will not speak out against it. They will not speak out against anything that will sever their relationship with the Democratic Party. They will not. See, the Democratic Party is their pimp. I know it's hard to say. The Democratic Party is the pimp to the black political class. Well, I hate to say that, the Democratic Party are the pimps to the black political class. The hypocrisy of the black political class is fully evident when you see policies and laws that are naturally discriminatory, that produce segregation, and negatively impacts the black community. Yet they are silent. But when it comes to things such as voter ID, you can't help but not see them on TV anywhere talking about it.
Well, first of all, I do absolutely agree that it's racist. It is a redux of Jim Crow in a suit and tie.
That is so hypocritical when these vaccine mandates are actually affecting people's livelihoods. They're affecting the way somebody can earn a living. They're affecting the way somebody can entertain and recreate themselves and relax. They're affecting how somebody can worship. But yet you don't hear a peep out of them because it's not to their benefit. It does not behoove them to speak out about this. Because like I said, the Democratic Party is the pimp to the black political class. And the black political class does whatever the Democratic Party wants them to do. If somebody gets out of line, oh, you best believe the Democratic Party will crack that whip and get them back in line. If somebody speaks out about something, speaks truth to something, oh, you better believe the Democratic Party will crack that whip. Or they'll dispatch other leaders to do their dirty work. And that's where the black political elite come in. They do the work, the handiwork, the dirty work of the Democratic Party. That's why I call the Democratic Party the pimp to the black political class, to the black political elites. The Democratic Party is the pimp to the black political elite. They are. They're not independent. They're not autonomous. They do not think for themselves. They are only there to do the bidding of the Democratic Party. But we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. And it's time for us to wake up and understand that we will no longer be led astray by so-called political leaders in the black community. We will no longer be led astray by people that do not have our best interests in mind. You want to know why they speak out against abortion laws in Texas? Because the Democratic Party tells them to do that. Knowing that that law will enable more black babies to be born. But no. That law goes against the interests of the Democratic Party. Who cares if it goes against the best interests of black people? The best interest of black people is irrelevant. Those things are irrelevant. It's only what matters to the Democratic Party. So yes, the Democratic Party is the pimp to the black political elite. But we are not victims. They're not my pimp, and I hope they're not your pimp. I serve one. His name is God Almighty and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's who I have to answer to. So I don't care what the Democratic Party or the black political elite have to say about it. I'm not a victim. You're not a victim. We're not victims. We are empowered for greatness. And while I want everybody to be able to vote, I want to make it easier for people to be able to vote. The simple fact that you're going to require proof of vaccination, so people have to show their vaccine cards, and it's tough for them to get a government-issued ID, man, go somewhere else with that lie. Go somewhere else with that lie. That is a lie. When something showing proof of vaccination is naturally discriminatory against black people. Naturally. Yet you want me to sit here and think that asking someone to show ID to vote is more discriminatory than asking somebody to show proof of vaccination. You can go somewhere else with that. I reject that. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. The Democratic Party is the pimp to the black political elite. They are. It's sad to say, but they are. They are only loyal to the Democratic Party. Their fidelity lies with the Democratic Party. That's it. So they will not speak out against crime in the inner city. They will not speak out when protests burn down buildings in the inner city, burn down businesses owned by black people. They will not speak out when abortion kills black people and black babies more than anybody else. They will not speak out about that. But let there be a voter ID law. That is racist. That is discriminatory. You can go somewhere else with that. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness.